Access to the internet is growing rapidly across the world, but there's still billions of people without it, and many of them live here in Africa. Up to 57% of the world's population is now connected to the internet. But of the 1.3 billion who live in Africa, only 37% are connected. Although it's estimated that there will be 500 million internet users in Africa by 2020. But according to the Alliance for Affordable Internet, African countries have the world's most expensive internet access, and it's feared that this could hinder future uptake on the continent. Now, there are firms that are trying to solve this problem by launching satellites into space, and in this way, they're hoping to revolutionize the market and create cheaper, high-speed internet connections across the world. The BBC's Emmanuel Agunza has more.
When it comes to internet connectivity, Kenya ranks highly in the continent. Data from the country's communication authority says internet penetration in 2018 was at its highest. And it's not just connectivity. Kenyans enjoy much cheaper data compared to neighboring countries. But in rural areas, the figures are much lower, with an estimated 4 million Kenyans lacking access to internet or mobile access. This is Ole Tepesi village, about 50 kilometers from the capital, Nairobi. Now, a year ago, the community here had to climb up tall trees or go up the hill to be able to access a mobile network. But thanks to the massive investment made on the infrastructure, I don't have to do any of that. I can comfortably sit and enjoy a very strong 3G network. This has enabled the community to get up on platforms like WhatsApp and Facebook and reconnect further with the world. It's something they couldn't believe could happen before. The investment is part of $100 million fund set aside by the government and telecom companies to improve mobile and internet infrastructure in rural communities across the country. Already the benefits have had impact on the ground.
This has a positive social impact, socialization, and also improved our businesses. Example for us herders, there are markets that are far away, and so now we can be able to tell what they need and what prices cows and goats are fetching now. Then you're able to take there what is not available and do business.
The telecom companies are all regulated by law to contribute 0.5% of their profits to the Universal Service Fund, which is then used to improve infrastructure in areas that will otherwise be bypassed by service providers.
These services are a necessity in Kenya. Today in Kenya, can you operate without your mobile phone? Can you operate without your money transfer? You are left behind. So we found cases where they have to go long distances, climb trees to be able to get a network. I found that completely unacceptable in the Kenya of today. And today, now that they have services, they really are celebrating, because it means they can be able to communicate every day.
But thousands of kilometers away in Malawi, the picture is very different. 4 years ago, I was here in Malawi to do a story on how expensive it was to have mobile data. I'm back here to find out just how much Malawians are paying to access the internet right now. This is, after all, one of the poorest countries in the continent, but people here have to pay an average of $12 a month on mobile phones. This is more than half of what ordinary Malawians earn in a month.
We're looking at a population of 17 million, and as of last year, I think only 400,000 had access to the internet, and that's very small. That shows that people are poor and can't afford the rates. So it really does stifle the economy, and especially for people who are trying to do these tech startups, because you're looking at a world that's changing and it's going forward. And if especially the youth are not able to afford those things, we can't keep up with the rest of the world. We're still going to be left behind.
But countries like Malawi could soon benefit from satellites that will be capable of giving users on the ground high-speed connections to the internet. Several companies, including SpaceX, owned by billionaire Elon Musk, have already begun rolling out their own orbiting broadband systems. It's still not yet clear when remote communities will start accessing this cheaper and faster internet. But this could well be the beginning of exciting times in this digital age.